So we begin with the oil giant BP because it's just released its latest results for the second quarter, with replacement cost profit up over 140% on the same time last year to just over $5.7 billion. The company's relatively new chief executive, Meg O'Neill, says BP is focused on its performance, financial discipline and creating shareholder value, with stronger commodity prices and a falling debt burden helping BP to see a turnaround. However, she also says there were areas where the firm's performance fell short in her view, particularly with production falling at plants processing less crude. Well, let's get some analysis from Cornelia Meyer, who's an independent energy analyst. Morning, Cornelia.
Good morning, Sally.
So what do you make of the numbers?
But it's a very strong set of numbers, and really, I'm very, very pleased. And Meg O'Neill is doing a fantastic job. Because she's going back to the core business. And also, when I see how the company is reporting this time around, it is very different from previous ways of reporting. You know, they say plant availability in upstream 92.4%, in downstream 94.7%. We never saw so much focus on operational excellence. Meg O'Neill comes from Exxon, which are the masters of operational excellence, and then really built the LNG business at Woodside Petroleum. So she's a very experienced, no-nonsense business leader.
Yeah, and she is certainly proving her worth. Some stellar numbers. This is the first set of quarterly figures under her leadership, as it were. She does say, though, that, you know, it was one of the most disruptive periods, this period, in the global energy market, and how, as a company, they've managed to just keep going and delivering for their customers, etc., etc. It's very difficult to know still what is ahead. I mean, BP and the others are still having to navigate what's going on in the Gulf.
It's very difficult. Now, BP is less exposed to the Gulf than, let's say, Exxon or Shell, who are very in with Qatar LNG. So BP is less exposed to that. And when she says, well, they're also, you know, pruning the portfolio, they want to sell the North Sea assets, but they want to bring partners into Kirkuk, into the KRG, Kurdistan region, which again, you don't have to evacuate the oil via the Strait of Hormuz. You can go via pipeline through Turkey. So they're doing all the right thing. And when I also look at what they did in downstream, all of us who've recently flown should be very grateful, because in Spain, they really upped the jet fuel production in one of the refineries. So they're adjusting, they're nimble, and again, it's operational. It's about operational excellence.
What about the disruptive investor at BP, Elliott, who managed to get quite a big stake in the company and, you know, has been very much involved in various issues? Is that something that is not a headache for Meg O'Neill currently, or is that something still very much on their radar?
She does exactly what they wanted her to do. She goes back to the core business, to oil and gas. She's restructuring the company. She's, you know, simplifying the company, restructuring it into an upstream and a downstream division. She is, she's going back to basics, which is what the Elliott management wanted the company to do for a long
Okay.
time. Let's not forget they had four CEOs and one interim CEO in 6 years, and two chairmen in 6 years.
Yeah, it's been a very, very disruptive time for BP, that is for sure. Cornelia, thanks so much for your analysis. Good to get your take on those numbers.